Have you ever looked up at the night sky and wondered what's out there? Far away, on a cold, red planet named Mars, scientists have found something extraordinary. It's a giant dark hole in the ground. This isn't just any hole, it's a perfectly round black circle on the side of a giant sleeping volcano. Imagine you are flying high above Mars in a spaceship. You look down, and you see this strange dark spot. It looks like someone poked a giant finger into the dusty red surface. This discovery makes our hearts beat faster, because it could be an entrance, a doorway to a hidden world that we have never seen before. It fills our minds with so many amazing questions and possibilities. What makes this hole so exciting? Well, holes can lead to caves, and caves on Mars could be very special places. On Earth, caves are full of wonders, like giant crystals and strange creatures that live in the dark. But on Mars, a cave could be even more important. It could be a shelter, a safe place hidden from the harsh world above. Scientists at NASA, the space agency, are incredibly interested in this spot. They think it might be a skylight, a natural opening into a huge underground lava tube. These are long tunnels that were formed by flowing lava a very, very long time ago, when the Martian volcanoes were still active and erupting. Think about it. A whole network of secret tunnels might be hiding right under the Martian dust. This isn't science fiction, it's a real possibility that we are exploring right now, today, on this 15th day of February, 2026. The hole is a big mystery waiting to be solved. We can't see what's inside from our spaceships in orbit. The opening is so dark that our powerful cameras can't peek into its depths. Is it a shallow pit, or does it drop down into a massive cavern that stretches for miles? The only way to know for sure is to go there, and that is a challenge that inspires scientists and engineers to dream big and build the next generation of explorers. The discovery of this hole has changed how we think about exploring Mars. For a long time we have focused on studying the surface, looking for signs of past water and life in the rocks and soil. But now we have a new direction to look: down. This single dark spot on a volcano has opened up a brand new chapter in our search for answers. It reminds us that exploration is all about curiosity. It's about seeing something unusual and asking, what is that? And what could it mean? This hole is a giant question mark on the face of Mars, and we are determined to find the answer. To understand why this hole is so special, let's use our imaginations. Think of the surface of Mars as the floor of a huge old attic. It's dusty, it's cold, and it's been untouched for a very long time. Now imagine that while you are exploring this attic, you find a trap door in the floor, a dark, square opening that you didn't know was there. What would you feel? You would feel a rush of excitement and curiosity. You would want to know what's down there. Is it a secret room, a hidden basement, a tunnel leading somewhere new? This hole on Mars is exactly like that trapdoor. It's an invitation to a secret part of the planet. This Martian trapdoor is what scientists call a pit crater or a skylight. It likely formed when the roof of a giant underground cave collapsed. Long ago, when Mars had active volcanoes, rivers of hot molten lava flowed across the land. Sometimes the top of the lava river would cool and harden, forming a solid crust. But underneath the hot lava kept flowing, like water through a pipe. When all the lava drained away, it left behind a long, hollow tunnel. These are called lava tubes. This hole is probably a place where the roof of one of these ancient lava tubes caved in, giving us a peek inside. This is not just a small hole. Scientists estimate it is about 35 meters across. That's as wide as a professional basketball court. It's big enough to fly a small spacecraft into. But because it's so deep and dark, it's like a well with no visible bottom. We are standing at the top, peering into the darkness, wondering how far down it goes. Is it connected to a single cave, or is it part of a massive, interconnected system of tunnels, like a giant subway system built by nature? This single simple opening could be the key to unlocking the biggest secrets that Mars has been hiding from us for billions of years. Comparing it to a basement entrance helps us understand why it's so important for protection. The attic of a house is exposed to the weather outside, the sun, the wind, the rain. But the basement is protected. It's underground, so it stays cooler in the summer and warmer in the winter. It's shielded from storms. This hole on Mars leads to a potential Martian basement, a place that is shielded from all the dangerous things happening on the surface. And that is why scientists think that if there is life on Mars today, this is one of the best places we could possibly find it. It's a natural shelter, a planetary safe house. The surface of Mars is a very tough place to live. It's not like Earth at all. First, there is almost no air. The Martian atmosphere is about 100 times thinner than Earth's. You couldn't breathe there, and that thin air doesn't provide much protection. Second, it's incredibly cold. The average temperature on Mars is about -62 degrees Celsius, or -80 degrees Fahrenheit. That's colder than the coldest winter day in Antarctica. Even on a warm day at the Martian equator, the temperature can drop dramatically as soon as the sun goes down. It's a world of extreme temperature swings that would be very difficult for any living thing to survive. But the biggest danger on the Martian surface is something you can't even see: radiation. Mars doesn't have a strong magnetic field like Earth does. Our planet's magnetic field acts like an invisible shield, protecting us from harmful radiation particles that are constantly streaming through space from the sun and distant stars. Without this shield, the surface of Mars is bombarded with this high-energy radiation. This radiation can break apart the complex molecules that life is made of, like DNA. It's one of the main reasons why the surface of Mars today is likely sterile, meaning it's probably lifeless. It's just too dangerous up there for delicate life to exist for long. This is where the caves come in. An underground cave or a lava tube would be a perfect shelter from all these dangers. Just a few meters of rock and soil overhead would be enough to block almost all of that harmful radiation. It would be like hiding under a giant natural umbrella that protects you from a storm of invisible particles. This protection is absolutely crucial. If tiny, simple life forms like microbes exist on Mars, they would have a much better chance of surviving underground than they would on the surface. The caves would be their safe haven from the cosmic rays. Inside a cave, the environment would also be much more stable. The temperatures wouldn't swing so wildly from day to night. Just like caves on Earth, Martian caves would likely maintain a steady, constant temperature all year round. They might still be very cold, but the stability is key. Furthermore, if there is any water left on Mars, it is most likely frozen underground as ice. Inside a cave, the slightly warmer and more protected environment might allow some of that ice to melt, creating pockets of liquid water, or at least a more humid environment. And as we know, where there is water, there is a chance for life, as we know it. NASA scientists are like detectives on the biggest case in the universe. Are we alone? They are searching for life beyond Earth, and Mars is their #1 suspect, but they are very, very careful detectives. They know that finding life, especially tiny microbial life, is incredibly difficult. They don't want to make a mistake. If they announced they found life and were wrong, it would be a huge setback, so they follow a very important rule. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. This means they need to be 100% sure before they can say they have found something as amazing as alien life. That is why the search is so slow and careful. For decades, our strategy for searching for life on Mars was to follow the water. We sent orbiters and rovers to look for places where liquid water existed in the planet's ancient past. We have found dry riverbeds, deltas, and lake beds. We have even found minerals that can only form in water. This has proven that ancient Mars was a much warmer, wetter world. It was a place that could have supported life billions of years ago. But what about life today? The surface seems too harsh, so the chances of finding living organisms in the top layer of the soil are very, very slim. This has been a big challenge for scientists. The discovery of these potential cave entrances has completely energized the search. It gives us a brand new place to look, a place that is much more promising. Instead of just looking for fossils of ancient life, we can now dream of finding living life. The caves are a target. They are a specific location where the conditions for life might be just right now. This is a huge shift in our thinking. It's like searching for a lost key in a giant field, and then suddenly someone tells you to check under the only big rock in the entire field. The caves are that big rock. They have become a top priority for future exploration. Because these caves are so important, NASA and other space agencies are already thinking about how we could explore them. Sending a rover that can just drive on the surface won't work. We would need a new kind of robot, maybe a rover that can rappel down a rope into the hole, or maybe a flying drone, like a helicopter, that could descend into the darkness and explore the cave from the air. These ideas are no longer just for movies. Engineers are working on these concepts today. The hunt for our Martian neighbors might soon go underground, into the mysterious hidden world that these dark holes promise to reveal. The most famous picture of one of these Martian holes was taken back in 2017. It was captured by a powerful camera called HiRISE, which is on board a NASA spacecraft known as the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. This orbiter has been circling Mars for many years, taking the most detailed pictures of the surface we have ever seen. When scientists saw this particular image, they were stunned. It showed a small, perfectly round, and incredibly dark hole on the dusty slopes of a volcano named Arsia Mons. It didn't look like a normal impact crater from a meteor. It looked different, and honestly, it was deeply mysterious. What made this particular hole stand out from all the other features on Mars? First, its shape. It was so perfectly circular that it looked almost artificial, like it was drilled by a machine. Second, its darkness. The HiRISE camera is so powerful that it can see details inside most shadows on Mars. But when it looked into this hole, it saw nothing but blackness. This told scientists that the hole must be very deep. It's a vertical shaft that goes straight down. The sun was high in the sky when the photo was taken, but no sunlight was reaching the bottom, which means we are looking into a deep, cavernous space. Scientists analyzed the image very carefully. They could see the sunlit surface all around the rim of the hole. But inside the hole's perimeter, there was no illuminated wall. This is another clue that suggests we are not looking at a bowl-shaped crater. Instead, we are looking at the entrance to a much larger, underground void. The hole is essentially a skylight into a hidden chamber below the surface. This single photograph was the smoking gun, the piece of evidence that made the idea of vast Martian cave systems seem very, very real. It turned a theory into a tangible place we could point to on a map. This image from the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter has become an icon for the future of Mars exploration. It represents a doorway to the unknown. Every time we look at it, we are filled with questions. How deep does it go? How big is the cave it leads to? What are the walls made of? Could there be ice at the bottom? And the biggest question of all, could something be living down there, hidden from our view? This one picture has inspired countless scientific papers, discussions, and plans for future missions. It's a constant reminder that Mars still has profound secrets waiting to be discovered by us. To understand why caves are the best place to look for life, we need to travel back in time. Let's go back about 3 or 4 billion years. Back then, Mars was a very different planet. It had a thicker atmosphere, a stronger magnetic field, and it was much warmer. Most importantly, it had liquid water flowing on its surface. There were rivers, lakes, and maybe even a large ocean in its northern hemisphere. The conditions on ancient Mars were very similar to the conditions on ancient Earth at the time, when life was first getting started here. So, it is very possible that life also began on Mars. But then, something terrible happened to Mars. Over millions of years, it lost its protective magnetic field. Without that shield, the sun's solar wind stripped away most of the planet's atmosphere. As the air grew thinner, the water on the surface either evaporated into space or froze solid. The planet grew cold, dry, and was exposed to deadly radiation. If any life had started on the surface, it would have been in big trouble. It would have had to find a place to hide, or it would have perished. The surface of Mars became a planetary tomb, preserving the memory of a warmer, wetter past. This is where the idea of an underground refuge becomes so critical. As the surface of Mars became uninhabitable, life could have retreated underground. The lava tubes, which were formed during this same active period in Mars's history, would have been the perfect escape route. They would have offered protection from the radiation, stable temperatures, and a place where water ice could remain safe from evaporation. So, if life ever existed on Mars, the caves are the most logical place where it might have survived. It could be clinging to life in these dark, hidden shelters, waiting to be found. Therefore, when we search these caves, we're not just looking for current life, we're also looking for a record of Mars's past. The walls of these caves could contain frozen layers of ice that act like a time capsule. By drilling into that ice, we could study the history of the Martian climate and atmosphere. We might even find the frozen, preserved remains of ancient Martian microbes. The caves are our best chance to answer 2 questions at once. Is there life on Mars now? And if not, was there life on Mars in the past? These hidden worlds hold the keys to Mars's entire biological history. The exciting thing is that the hole on Arsia Mons is not the only one. Since scientists started looking for them, they have found many more. Using images from spacecraft like the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, they have created a catalog of these potential cave entrances. As of today, we have identified over 1,000 of these features on Mars. They are not all in one place. They are found in many different regions, especially in the volcanic areas where lava tubes are most likely to have formed. It seems that Mars might be riddled with these underground tunnels, a bit like a giant piece of Swiss cheese. Finding these holes is a real challenge. They are very small targets on a very big planet. Scientists use powerful computer programs to scan thousands of high-resolution images of the Martian surface. The programs are trained to look for small, dark, circular or irregular spots that don't look like typical impact craters. When the computer flags a potential candidate, a human scientist then carefully examines the image to confirm if it could be a real skylight. It's a slow and patient process, like looking for needles in a cosmic haystack, but every new discovery adds another potential target for future exploration missions. Even though we have found over 1,000 of these entrances, studying them from so far away is incredibly difficult. We are looking at them from an orbiter that is hundreds of kilometers above the surface. We can measure their width, and we can tell if they are deep because they are so dark. But we can't see what's inside. We can't tell if they connect to a large cave system or if they're just simple deep pits. We also can't measure the temperature, humidity, or radiation levels inside the caves. To get that information, we need to get much closer. We need to send a probe down into the darkness. This challenge is what drives roboticists and engineers to be creative. They are designing robots that can climb, fly, or crawl into these dangerous and unknown environments. Some ideas include a swarm of small flying drones that could map out a cave together. Another idea is a tethered rover that would be lowered down into the hole on a long cable, allowing it to explore the bottom while staying connected to a lander on the surface. Exploring these 1,000 doors will require a whole new generation of robotic explorers, ones that are more autonomous and adventurous than any we have sent to Mars before. Besides the holes, there was another Martian mystery that had scientists scratching their heads for years. This mystery involved strange dark streaks that would appear on the sides of some Martian craters and slopes. These streaks were not there all the time. They would appear during the warmer seasons on Mars, grow longer down the slopes, and then fade away when it got colder. Scientists called them recurring slope lineae, or RSL for short. For a long time, these streaks were one of the most exciting and puzzling discoveries on the Red Planet, because they seemed to be related to water. The main idea was that these streaks were caused by flowing water. Scientists thought that in the warm Martian summer, salty ice just beneath the surface would melt. This salty water, or brine, would then seep out onto the surface and flow downhill, creating the dark streaks. The salt was important because salty water can stay liquid at much colder temperatures than pure water. This flowing brine hypothesis was incredibly exciting. If there was liquid water flowing on Mars today, even if it was very salty, it would be a huge discovery in our search for places that could support life. The RSL were seen as possible oases in the Martian desert. Many scientists were convinced that the streaks were wet. The way they appeared and grew was just like how water seeps and flows on Earth. NASA even held a big press conference in 2015, announcing that they had found evidence of hydrated salts within the streaks, which seemed to confirm the water theory. This was big news around the world. It made it seem like we were one step closer to finding life. The idea of present-day flowing water on Mars captured everyone's imagination. It painted a picture of a more dynamic and active planet than we had previously thought. The mystery seemed to be solved. However, science is a process of constant questioning and testing. Even when an idea seems right, other scientists will keep checking it. As we got more and better data from our orbiters, some things about the water theory just didn't add up. For example, the streaks were found on the steepest slopes, almost as steep as a pile of loose sand can be. If it were water, you would expect to see it on gentler slopes too. Also, scientists calculated that it would take a huge amount of underground water to create all the streaks we were seeing, and it wasn't clear where all that water would be coming from. The case wasn't as closed as it seemed. As scientists continued to study the mysterious dark streaks with even more powerful cameras and tools, a new and simpler explanation began to emerge. They noticed that the streaks only appeared on slopes that were very, very steep. Specifically, slopes that were steeper than about 27 degrees. This angle is important. It's known as the angle of repose, which is the steepest angle that loose, dry material like sand or dust can be piled up before it starts to slide. This was a major clue. It suggested that the streaks might be caused by something a lot simpler than water: gravity. They were avalanches of dry dust and sand. So, if the streaks are just dry avalanches, why do they appear dark, and why do they change with the seasons? The answer seems to be related to the unique properties of Martian dust. The surface of Mars is covered in a layer of very fine, bright dust, but underneath that, the sand and rocks are often darker. The theory is that something triggers small slides of the bright dust, revealing the darker surface underneath. This creates the dark streak. Over time, the Martian wind blows more of the bright dust around, covering the streak up again, which is why they seem to fade away. They are not flows of water, but flows of dust. But what triggers these dust avalanches to happen only in the warmer seasons? The answer is likely related to the thin Martian atmosphere. Even though the air is thin, changes in temperature can affect it. Some scientists think that seasonal changes in humidity or temperature might cause the dust particles to stick together or break apart differently, making them more likely to slide. It's not flowing water itself, but the changing state of the atmosphere that pulls the trigger. This explanation fits all the evidence much better than the water theory. It explains why the streaks are only on the steepest slopes and how they can appear and disappear. Solving this mystery is a perfect example of how science works. We start with a puzzle, we come up with a hypothesis, flowing water, and we test it. When new evidence comes along that doesn't fit, we have to be willing to change our minds and look for a better explanation. Dry dust flows. While finding flowing water would have been amazing, this new answer is also very important. It tells us about the active and dynamic weather on Mars, where winds and dust storms constantly reshape the surface. It shows us that Mars is not a dead planet, but a place where things are still happening, driven by the forces of nature. The discoveries of deep cave entrances and the solution to the mystery of the dark streaks are both incredibly important for the future of Mars exploration. They guide us toward the most promising places to search for life. We now know that the surface is likely too harsh, but the underground world could be a completely different story. These caves are now at the top of our list of places to visit. They are natural laboratories, where we can look for signs of life, both past and present, in an environment that is protected from the deadly radiation on the surface. They are the treasure chests of Mars. These discoveries are also vital for planning how humans will one day live on Mars. Building a base on the surface would be very difficult and dangerous. Astronauts would need heavy shielding to protect them from radiation, and they would have to deal with the extreme temperature swings. But what if we could build our base inside one of these giant lava tubes? The cave itself would provide all the radiation shielding we need, for free. The temperature inside would be stable, making it much easier to live and work. A lava tube could provide a huge, protected space for habitats, laboratories, and greenhouses. Future astronauts could live and work safely underground, only going to the surface in their spacesuits when they need to. It would be like having a natural, pre-built Martian city waiting for us. Finding these cave entrances is like a real estate agent finding the perfect location for a new home. We are scouting the best and safest places for humanity to take its next giant leap. Exploring these caves with robots first will be essential to map them out and make sure they are safe and suitable for a future human base. These dark holes are not just scientific curiosities, they are potential homes for our descendants. So, is there a hidden world beneath Mars? The evidence says yes. A world of vast, dark tunnels formed by ancient volcanoes. This hidden world is our best hope for finding Martian life, and our best bet for building a safe future for human explorers. Our journey to Mars is just beginning. We have stood on the surface with our rovers, and we have looked down from orbit with our cameras. The next great adventure will be to go down, to descend into the darkness of these mysterious caves, and see what secrets the Red Planet has been keeping from us. The trapdoor is open, and the universe is inviting us to explore.